and good day. Thank you for joining us. I am Tamara Scott. We're bringing you truth for our time. And the truth is good for all time. As someone said this week, there's just never a wrong time to do the right thing. And so if we can help you understand the issues out there, if God expects you to live through it, He's directed you how to do it in the truth of His Word. So we just delight in bringing you information and helping you figure out what's happening in your communities and how you can respond appropriately to do the best thing for your future, not just here on earth, but for eternity. Today, I have a couple of great guests. I'm so excited how God just works things out for me. Gregg Cummings is with the Tea Party Patriots. Gregg Cummings is with the Tea Party Patriots. He'll be talking about several different issues that you need to know about. The beauty of it is they have a great website, and they have all kinds of little informative things for you to give you that quick update, that quick tutelage, so you can feel informed enough to talk to your legislators, which is what you need to do. And then Ken Canfield, the founder of the Center for National Fatherhood, the National Center for Fatherhood, will join us in the later part of the program because this Sunday is Father's Day. And I know men are usually last minute. I cracked up Mother's Day. I just howled. I think it was actually Mother's Day. And the aisles were full in the store of men and young boys looking for the cards for their mothers on that day. So women, I'll just clue you in. If you don't have your little card or your gift or whatever it is you do for Father's Day, get busy. You have only a few shopping days left. And maybe you have something even better than shopping, a gift that you make or something you do. But fatherhood is so important. It's so integral in raising great young men and women who are vital in society. And boy, when we see, I just don't know how to say it any more clearly, when we see the family broken, society pays the price. When the family is healthy, society benefits. And so when you hear politicians talking about being fiscally conservative or economic issues matter more than social, they've got it backwards, because you can't have sound fiscal policy unless you have sound social policy. Unhealthy families cannot survive, thrive, and create a healthy economic system. It just doesn't happen. So last week, I was able to attend the Issachar training and the response. Governor Nikki Haley out of South Carolina, following in the steps of Bobby Jindal in January of this year, Governor Perry in 2011, Lincoln several times over, George Washington, one of his first acts, calling this nation to prayer over and over, understanding God's providence for our freedom and our liberty, and the very fact that our independence as a nation totally relies on our dependence on Him and our salvation. So, Ryan, do you have a couple photos from the response? Let's pop those up there. It was a great event. There's nothing like being in a stadium full of people and hearing agreement in praying for our nation. How can you possibly be upset with that? Especially as we talked about last week with the Magna Carta 800th anniversary was just Monday, of the Magna Carta, one of those sacred documents, talking about this being the founding document of making sure that every individual is under the law. No one is above the law, and that we the people, America really brought that home, we the people make the law. Okay, there's David Lane. He is the founder of the Issachar Training. Issachar Training, raising up, actually teaching and informing pastors to understand their role civically, their role in their communities, their role as watchmen and gatekeepers, and then calling them to see if they are are they able to run for office? Rob McCoy out of California ran for State House. Tremendous race. I can't even go into all the details. 600 volunteers, millions spent on a House race or a state level race in California. And he lost that race, but only to come back and take up a city seat, a city council seat. So tremendous by that pastor. So if pastors are feeling called to run, and then also maybe they have somebody in their church. It's not them, it's somebody in their church that they can get behind to run. See, these are just some photos coming through from the response. And if we can go back to the national, you'll just continue forward. I think you'll see it here. Look at that crowd. Amazing. Okay, let's go forward and see if we can find the one of National Committee woman from South Carolina, Cindy Okay, oh, these are new photos. I haven't seen some of these. There seem to be more downloading, perhaps. Okay, I think it's right after this one coming up. National Committee woman with the podium. At the podium is Cindy Costa, Republican National Committee woman, who also participated in the Issachar training and the response, the call to prayer, understanding the necessity of having God's hand, just as George Washington understood it, just as Thomas Jefferson understood it, even though people try to deny that. So we're so thrilled to get to be there and participate in that. Iowan Karen Campbell from Concerned Women for America facilitated the prayer on education. She did a tremendous job, and I was honored to facilitate the prayers on media and news. So it was just, I have goosebumps talking about it. It was just great to be there. And so that prayer should continue on, and you can be praying for your state and your nation, and consider having one. Approach your governor, approach the journey, the response, and see how you go about it and what steps are taken. But let's have other states in this nation calling for prayer. We need help, and it's greater than just the government. And until we get it right in our house and God's house, we will never get it right in the state house, the schoolhouse, or the courthouse. So we must have those things in order. All right, we're going to go now to our first guest, Gregg Cummings. Gregg with 2 G's, Gregg. And Gregg, you can reach Gregg at teapartypatriots.org, teapartypatriots.org. Gregg is with 2 G's, and we were just discussing the pronunciation, which I'm sure I'm totally just destroying. Gregg with 2 G's sounds like an A.
Yes, that's right.
And Gregg with 1 G sounds how?
With an E sound. So it's either an E sound or an A sound. So it's either Gregg or Greg.
See, there's so little difference.
It is. It's very, very little difference. It's funny, though.
I'm going to miss
it's
it out.
definitely a conversation starter.
Well, thank you so much for what you do, and thank you for joining me in studio. We appreciate you and your group, your thousands, your millions of people who have woke up. Did they wake up? Was it the 2010 election where they just came out so strong, the Tea Party?
That's when the first strong impact came, yes.
All right. And people like to talk about the demise of the Tea Party and that you're all not so influential anymore. What would you say to that?
I would say it's 100% wrong. The Tea Party movement is the movement of the people. And if we, the people, are alive, then the Tea Party is still alive. It's not any one or organization. Now, even though I am with the Tea Party Patriots, and I'm also the founder of We the People Tea Party of Southern Iowa, as well as the co-founder of the Iowa Grassroots Coalition, but all 3 of those are only part of the single movement in this country. And you just mentioned about the start. Well, 2009, prior to the 2010 election, there were 8 states in the United States that had trifecta Republican trifectas, okay? And a trifecta is when the governor and both sides of the state house are of one majority party.
Okay.
And there were only 8 Republican, and there were 16 Democrat. After the 14 elections, now there are 23 states in the United States that are trifectas and are Republican trifectas. And forgive me, I think the Democrats fell down to 6. So it's a huge movement that continues to go. And that didn't happen because of Karl Rove, the architect of losers, or the leadership in the GOP. It's because of the groundswell of the grassroots in this country that started to re-educate ourselves of our duty as American citizens to be engaged in our politics, or else the government takes control of us. That's why we're a republic and we are not a democracy.
People don't get that, Gregg.
Don't.
We pledge allegiance to the flag, and we talk about the republic, and we talk about being under God. And yet people will argue those 2 points. They do, and even Republicans will talk about our democracy.
Without a doubt. And our forefathers did everything in their power to make sure we would never turn into a democracy. Because in a true democracy, if everybody raised their hand and said everybody in the country or all women in the country is going to wear burqas, guess what? The majority wins. That is a democracy. And a republic, the difference between the two is a democracy champions the will of the majority, where a republic champions the rights of each individual. And that's why we're the great American experiment.
Love it. Will of the majority versus the rights of the individual, which comes back to the Magna Carta again.
Yes.
The 800th anniversary being on Monday, June 15th, in 1215, signed by King John and Runnymede. And you talked about the democracy. David Barton talks about it really well. he takes it back to the Latin or the Hebrew terms, and mobocracy is what it means. But all you do is build a fervor. Think about that. Think about any sports game you're in. Think about any time the riots that you see, a fervor. And if you called for someone's head during that time, if we had a democracy, who knows what would take place? He likens it back to the cross. And that democracy was what we had when they called for Jesus to be crucified, really without trial, really without just cause. That's the danger of a democracy. With a republic, we have that representation, and it slows down the process a little bit. We talk about how slow government is. Well, we saw with the gas tax this year, it's not always so slow, but there is a reason for it to be slow, to give thought, meditation, to reflect over the bill, to evaluate healthy outcomes, long-term results, to get past emotions and allow wisdom to set in, not just over this moment, but what is best long-term.
Yes.
That's the difference.
It's a huge difference.
All right. Co-founder of Iowa Grassroots Coalition. Give us the website for that.
IAGRC.com.
IAGRC.com. Thank you so much for stopping by the studio here at Webcast One. I'm so pleased to have you. So let's talk. You have an event today. You're going to be at your congressional member's office?
That's correct. I'm going down to both Grassley's and Ernst's office at noon today.
And you're inviting everybody across the nation to join you.
Yes, not only at their office, but their own congressional offices across the country. That's correct.
And on what website was that where I saw that great map with all of the little R's, and you've got it spotted?
Yeah, it's at TPPatriots.org.
And they can and it says join us June 17th at noon. And if they click on that, they'll find talking points and information.
Yep, there's a toolkit that they can download with talking points and what the situation is. And I think you have a video. I think that'd be a good time for that video right now.
Sir Ryan, do we have time? Hey, I like that. Maybe I'll just call you Sir Ryan after we dealt with the Magna Carta last week. Do we have that video? There it is.
Hi, this is Senator David Vitter. Obamacare has been a disaster for America. Virtually everything we were told about Obamacare was a lie. Premiums and deductibles have skyrocketed. Many of us have lost our trusted doctors, and those who can't afford to pay the high cost now have to pay a penalty to the IRS. What's even worse, Congress gets a special exemption, big subsidies paid for with our tax dollars. That's outrageous. My STOP exemptions bill eliminates subsidies and requires Washington to live under the same rules as all Americans. Now I need you to demand that Mitch McConnell pass this bill. Please pick up the phone right now and call the number on your screen. Help me force Mitch McConnell to pass this bill. Call now.
Call 800-503-5859 or visit endobamacareexemption.com to sign our petition to end Obamacare exemptions for Congress.
And so that's 800-503-5859. Does that take them to a switchboard then?
Yes, and they'll be able to get more information there and be directed from that point.
At that number.
Yep.
So if you're not sure, it's a little intimidating to talk to your congressional members sometimes, though it shouldn't be. So if you don't have all the information you want, that number will give you more information on this bill.
That is correct. And in the toolkit, there's sample letters to your editor, sample letters to your senator or congressman that you can just email them. So
even if you can't make it right at noon,
yep,
you can send an email. You can do a phone call later. Or you could even send one of those old-fashioned snail mail letters as well.
That's right.
So stay on top of this. All right. So this is talking about the exemption. For those of you, some of you are listening, some of you are watching. This show airs each Wednesday morning, 10 a.m. Central Time at this studio, webcast1live.com. Webcast1 is spelled out as the number. Webcast1live.com. We thank Mac McCoy for making that possible. We also thank our other sponsors, Christians for America, Crave, ChristiansForAmerica.com, who make it possible for us to do this show each week. And if you miss the show, you can always go to Tamara Scott Live on YouTube. We make it very easy for the links of the show to be available. But if you're listening live and you want to join in on the phone lines, 515-244-0077, 515-244-0077. Love to have you join in the conversation with a question, with a comment, whatever it might be. So we're talking about exemption. We were told that there would be no exemptions, that the congressional members would also be on Obamacare. Are you telling me that's not true?
That is so not true. And let's back up just a little bit. We were talking about Republican democracy. Well, in a democracy, it's too easy for a government to tell the people what to do. Mm-hmm. And they forget that the Constitution was written not for the people to know what they're supposed to do under the government. The Constitution was written to tell the government what it cannot do to the people. So with that in mind, too often laws are created or Congress tries to, and the administrations try to set forth mandates on the American people that are unconstitutional. And so the Health Care Act or Obamacare is a prime example of that. So if I may, never before in American history has any administration, any Congress ever mandated the people to purchase a product.
Right.
Ever until now, until Obamacare. So with Obamacare in place, the number one goal for us, we the people across this country, is to get it repealed, to get it eliminated.
Absolutely.
Just out of the park, right?
Are you one of the few groups still talking about that?
Without a doubt. And we actually did a documentary on that, and we'll talk about that.
You guys have a lot of documentaries.
Yes. Well, the people need to know. They need to be informed of the facts and not just the political twist of things. So with that, so number one, everybody has to understand, we are not trying to follow and promote Obamacare. But if it's the law, which it is the law of the land right now, everybody needs to be following the law. Nobody should be exempt, especially
Right.
Congress. Congress is not a special class of people that are above the law, right? Everybody lives under the law, okay? So when you go and tell your congressperson, whether it's a senator or a representative, they're going to tell you that that's not true at all. We are a part of the exchange, okay?
Okay.
But let me explain the manipulation here.
All right.
Okay. The Judicial Watch, which is a very good group.
Yes, I'm getting their, all of a sudden I'm getting their newsletters. It's terrific.
Yes, great group. They did the Freedom of Information Act, and they went in and asked, did Congress apply for small business identification? And they did. And here's the documentation. I'll just give that to you. And it shows the examples of the actual applications, which are fraudulent applications, which I'll explain here in a second. There are only 2 ID numbers for Congress, one for the Senate and one for the House. And Section 1512 of Obamacare, do I have time to read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I don't know how long it is.
No, it's just a paragraph. And it says, if the employee purchases a qualified health plan through the exchange, the employee will lose the employer contribution, if any, to any health benefits plan offered by the employer, and that all or a portion of such contribution be excludable from income or federal income tax purposes. So in other words, if the small business is 50 or more, it's not a small business, it's a large business. And you are not allowed to receive subsidies, okay?
Okay.
Congress knows this. So what Congress did, each office went in and applied as a small business, which is 50 or less employees. But that's fraudulent because each office doesn't have their own ID number. There's only 2, and there's over 20,000 employees in Congress. So there's no way that they can continue to receive any kind of subsidies. But because they went to the administration, and the administration made sure that Congress then can apply for small business, now they can actually claim they are in the exchange, in the DC exchange, which they are under the small business, and they also are the only small business in America that are receiving $5,000 to $11,000 per person subsidies for their health care. It's amazing, and it's wrong.
Their offices get $5,000 to $11,000 per person in their office for a subsidy.
Correct. If they're a single person, it's around $5,000, and if they're a family, they can get a family health plan somewhere around $10,000 to $11,000, and that's a subsidy, taxpayers' money. We, the people, are paying Congress to be exempt from Obamacare. Name me one other small business in this country that gets taxpayer subsidies for their business. They're
not
none.
there, and so we're already tapping the taxpayer even more. We're getting hit even harder. I anytime it comes up, I have someone tell me their hard luck, and I don't mean that lightly. I mean it as a hard or a tough story that they're dealing with. They're either uninsured or their insurance is jumped up to thousands each month. We talked about this back in 2011. I think I was talking about this, the cost that would go up for insurance premiums.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I can't remember what group it was, but they had it broken down for McDonald's stores, how much it would cost each McDonald's store
That's right.
for their employees. So think this through. Your small business owner, your small Joe Plumber that we talked about in previous elections, who don't have all of the networking, the strings that your officials have, are already tapped because they'll get fined.
Yeah.
If they have over 50 employees and they don't tax,
That's
or
right.
they don't have the health care. But now your elected officials are taking more of your money to provide those $5,000 to $11,000 subsidies to their own people.
That's correct.
And they've found a way around this exemption.
And Senator Vitter has identified that. So his bills in Congress is H.R. 1953, H.R. 1953, and in the Senate it's S16. And so when you call your congressman, whether they're a senator or your representative, ask them to make sure they co-sponsor and vote for H.R. 1953 or S16. These will make sure that Congress will not be allowed these subsidies, because they are not a small business, even though they are redesignated as such. They are not authorized. It's a fraudulent manipulation of we the people's money.
Are his peers, do they get angry with him for this?
Oh, I'm sure they are. You know, I personally don't talk to Mr. Vitter, or Senator Vitter, but this is very, very important bill.
I would guess that this irritates those who are trying to ride that wave. That
Oh, sure.
We don't have it. We're out here drought. We're in the drought, and they're riding this wave of exemptions. Not
That
just
is
this,
correct.
on every other level. All right, we're going to go to a break right now. When we come back, we'll continue discussion with Gregg Cummings, Gregg Cummings, and he is with the Tea Party Patriots. He's also a founder of the Iowa Grassroots Coalition. Am I saying that right?
That's correct. Co-founder.
Co-founder of the Iowa Grassroots Coalition, some other great people in that organization as well. And if you want more information, we'll make sure that we get Gregg's contact information up. We're going to go to break so that we can thank those people who make it possible for us to bring you this information that you likely don't hear on the mainstream media. That's why you need us. Thank you very much. We'll be right back.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can give these grandkids back, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We can help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hey, psst. Let me let you in on a little secret. You ready? Always try to do business with people, not places. Especially if you seek honest Christian business people. And when it comes to my car, I really need to trust who's working on it. Now, my family is so blessed. A few years ago, we found a family-owned automobile repair shop that operates as a Christian business also. Open, honest, reliable, trustworthy. It's AMCO on Hickman Road in front of Kmart, and it's a family-owned Christian operating business. This family treats your car as if it was their car. Everything from oil changes to transmission repair and everything in between. So the next time you feel the need to be at peace with your choice of who you can trust with your car, Give AMCO on Hickman a chance to serve you. And tell them Max sent you.
And I am Tamara Scott. We're talking with Gregg Cummings from the Tea Party Patriots, also from the Iowa Grassroots Coalition. We've been talking about Congress's exemption to health care. You know, those affordable health care costs that are killing small businesses across the country and really doing damage to family businesses as well. Gregg, we've let people know of the concern. We've told them that they can call the phone number, which is 805. Better look it up, make sure I'm telling you the truth. 805-503-5859 for more information. But you're telling me there may even be another solution.
Oh, without a doubt, there's a solution. And for your listeners, please take this information and share it with family members and neighbors and everybody that you can. This July 1st at 7 p.m., you can sign up for a free webinar on the Healthcare Compact presentation. And you'll be able to ask questions. You'll be able to, and it's all real time. You watch it at home on your computer. You sign up prior to, and I have that information. So if you can put that out to your people, I'd be glad to.
Can we tweet it out?
Yes.
All right, we'll tweet it out right after the show. I don't think I can do two things. Maybe I can do two things at once. We'll see.
Okay.
I'll try and tweet it out on our Truth for Our Time Twitter, and Truth for Our Time is the Twitter. And if you're not following us, you probably should be, by the way. We'll tweet that out to you. And you're saying 7 p.m. is that Eastern Central? Central time. Mm-hmm. So 6 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 8 Mountain, and 9 Pacific. So that you can all join in.
Yes, they all can join in.
I just did that totally backwards. 8. It'd be 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain, and 5 Pacific.
You are correct.
So, yeah.
So you can also use your phone, and I can give you that information.
Okay.
The way we're doing it now, and you can dial in at 312-757-3121. Again, that's 312-757-3121, and the access code is 554-514-117. Access code is 554-514-117.
117. And that is this Thursday. July 1st.
July 1st.
We got a couple weeks yet. July
Yes.
1st. We got a couple weeks. I'm moving ahead. July 1st, 7 p.m. Central Time.
Yes,
All
so
right.
you'll be able to ask questions and so on and so forth. But basically what the Healthcare Compact is, already 9 states have signed it into law, which doesn't honor any federal health exchanges. It has its own state exchange, and so it's the Healthcare Compact. And what the compact is, the more states that sign on to the Healthcare Compact, it really helps. And then it goes to Congress for a vote, and it's just an up or down vote with Congress. And then if Congress says thumbs up, then it becomes law. It don't even have to go to the president's desk.
Really?
Compacts has been around longer than the Constitution, and but that's how a healthcare compact. There's a great video on YouTube. I don't have that information, but just go healthcare compact on YouTube, and you'll see these little stick figures. It's a great explanation on how healthcare compact actually works, and it's the leverage of we the people. Again, it's a tool of we the people, the authority of this republic has over the government. And but we need states to sign on to it. And like I said, there's already 9 states that have signed it into law, and we need more. And Iowa is not one of them yet, so that's what we're working on.
We're
trying to get Iowa.
We need our legislative body to do that.
Yes, and
So
that's we the
next
people
session.
that. Yep, it's we the people that has to push for that. Yes.
Next session, we need to have folks there. We need to have folks writing in. We can get organized about that and be talking about that. I know you've got a good organization here in Iowa, but we have people at the Capitol who can help you.
That would be outstanding.
So let's, and certainly we can check into it with the other pro-family groups if we're really about some. I know they have tenets, they have core values, but let's see. This is certainly pro-family to me.
And
your sovereignty as a family.
Yes, and it's 100%. And I'm glad you just used the word sovereignty, a state sovereignty issue, and so this healthcare compact will bring healthcare to the state level.
Okay, very good. Now we just mentioned sovereignty. Let's talk about our sovereignty as a nation, as states. That's kind of a new thing. I didn't remember hearing about that when I grew up in school, but I didn't always pay attention. But it's just as the Tea Party has risen, so has the idea of the 10th Amendment, the 11th Amendment. States are taking back power that they had handed over to the federal level because they see the neglect and the lack, Governor Perry being one example with the border. You, my friend, have taken your time, and I want people to understand what a patriot you are. Tell us, your father was military, you're military. Tell us a little bit about the history there.
Sure. My father is who instilled the patriotism in me. I was patriotic before I even knew what the Constitution was, and I knew the red, white, and blue is respected, and something that a lot of people have given the ultimate price for.
Right.
And and Jesus tells us those who give up their life to save another, the same shall save it. And that symbol of our flag really throws that home for me and really represents that more than anything. I wear my hat everywhere I go.
Always.
People knows my hat more than they do my face. If I walked around without my hat, people
It
wouldn't
helped me
recognize
learn to
me.
recognize you the first couple of times I met you.
But I wear it as a memorial. At the beginning of the Tea Party movement, I blame myself for the condition our country's in because I wasn't involved. I wasn't engaged. And then one day I heard Nancy Pelosi reading off the terrorist watch list, and U.S. vets were on there for no other reason except that we were vets. And this hat, I put all the pins and everything on it, and it was in my man cave. I had no intention of wearing it because it's a memorial to the 9 brothers I lost during the Gulf War. And so when she said that, I was livid. And I did everything I could. Long story short, and I already mentioned I founded the We the People Tea Party of Southern Iowa because of that. Our first large rally was on Memorial Day in 2010, and down there, and it was for what Memorial Day was all about. And we had speakers come from states all over the place to the little town of Lamoni, Iowa, to give speeches, and I approved each one as long as they could tie it in to Memorial Day, and each one of them did that. So it's amazing. But my father, he is one of those rare soldiers that fought in World War II, the Korean War, and did 2 tours in Vietnam before he got out. He did 30 years of service. And then after I graduated high school, I went straight into the Army. I became an airborne ranger myself and did everything that I could. The old commercial, be all you can be. And I volunteered for every type of training that I could because I wanted to be the best. And so once I got out, I continued my service. Every job I've held was some type of service to the people. I was a family counselor. I was actually the executive director of the Head Start Association here in Iowa. And then the Tea Party thing started, and I started work with Strong America Now, and Mike George out of Texas, and from there with Tea Party Patriots. So I'm still serving.
Thank you for your service. My thanks to your family for a legacy of service and preserving our freedom and our liberty. So you've been on the border.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell us what we're looking at.
Sure. The Tea Party Patriots, a good friend of mine, Mark Hager, one day, he and his group out of North Carolina really wanted to find out more of the situation of our security of our country, and so they asked me to come with them on a documentary, and at that time it was an amateur documentary that we did, and so that was my first visit to the border. And then we actually did we followed the drug trade on that one, and it took us to New York City. We just followed one, and we had some great interviews from FBI officials and so on and so forth. But then through that triggered the Tea Party Patriots to sit down with Mark and I and say, you know what, let's fund a professional documentary, and let's make it under an hour, and let's get the true message of really the situation on the border. So we agreed, and so Mark Hager from North Carolina and myself, we took a professional film crew, and we actually traveled the 2,200 miles of border of our, by ourselves. And we didn't want to talk to the government. We didn't want to talk to the governors of each one of those states. We wanted to talk to the people that own the property that the border is on, the American citizens in those cities that are on the border. And we wanted to talk to the sheriffs of the border. And we actually had a very good relationship with Sheriff Larry Deaver, who's now deceased. After a few weeks after we finished filming the first documentary, he mysteriously died. And but he testified before Congress. He went to every news agency and gave pressers of the situation and how bad it is on the border. And Congress nodded, yes, that's horrible. We'll be here to help you. Nothing happened. All the major news stations from Fox, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, you name it, they all said the same thing. We'll definitely get your message out. Very little happened. So they're vastly ignored, and the government's ignoring the wide open borders. And it's so bad. I was talking to a rancher that is constantly repairing property on his property, and he says, Greg, he says, every time you go out with your family, you go shopping with your family or you go out to eat with your family, when you get home, you tell your family to stay in the car, right? So that you can go in and clear your home and make sure it's safe, right? And I say, no. He says that happens every single time we leave our home, and it's been that way for 20-some years. And it is that bad. We have murders, rapes, and theft, and just some horrible crime on the borders that go unsolved because the perpetrators aren't there anymore because they're passing through. And so the sheriffs told us that, you listen to the administration and the governors, and they say, yes, we've got the best technology, and we've hired 3 times as many border patrol, which is all true. But the technology, the heat sensors and drones and those kind of things are employed in the populated areas, not in the high traffic areas where they're coming into the states, where they literally walking through.
Just walking across.
Walking across the border. You'll see fences that are just barbed wire. You'll see no fences at all on this. The border patrols are 80 to 190 miles inland. This is past all the little communities that live on the border.
It does you no good if you're really in the...
No, and the individuals will come across the border, and they literally just go around the border patrol stations, and they meet up on the other side, and they continue on. And it's a horrible, horrible situation. The sheriffs themselves say that they can shut down the border tight in 3 days if they were given the authority. They would put the border patrol personnel actually on the border, actually doing patrols. There's plenty of border patrol people to have one every mile if they wanted to.
Okay. So the documentary, how do people find that?
It's on YouTube. It's for free. It's called Border States of America. Nick Searcy, the actor, agreed to come and actually host the documentary for us. So it's very professionally done. And this is the message of the sheriffs.
Okay. And you just mentioned what's happening. And now, folks, you know the truth. And now we only have a couple minutes left. We're pushing it. Now, when you talk to folks who have a chance to meet presidential candidates, they now have a chance to assess and to ask some of these questions. And we just have maybe just a minute left, but show us the card, and you can put it right here in front of the camera. You have an assessment tool prepared for people. Where's our camera at?
Yes, and this is actually the main reason why I wanted to come on today, but this is the Honest Assessment Card. Go to IAGRC.com, IAGRC.com, and click on Candidates. and you'll see how this works. Basically, if you submit your top 10 by using this assessment into the Iowa Grassroots Coalition, we will post the top 5 at the end of every month. So people have a place to go to where they know it's not a manipulated poll. This is what the true conservatives of the state of Iowa are saying are the top 5 candidates
These
leading into the caucus.
Yep. Me as a grassroots citizen, these are the 5 I like. This is not a poll where they only ask a skewed number. It's not an agenda-driven poll. This is your chance to hear the candidates, ask the tough questions like you're talking about on healthcare and on border patrol, on security.
And do your assessments of their character and their core values. Yes.
And then turn these in. And so where they go to Iowa Grassroots Coalition, which is IAGRC.com to get these cards.
Yep. And the instructions are on the back. And the key part of this is when your number 1 champion drops out, we're asking you to don't go home as well. Take off that champion shirt and put on your number 2's champion shirt, because we have faith in the conservative people of state of Iowa that the top 5 will be the best. And it won't be that establishment big money guy like last go round. It was Mitt Romney. And we all know who the big money establishment guy this time. We don't want big money to win over we the people's honest assessments of who's the best for the job.
And this will require some homework. You have to do it. But this is what made America great. Your liberty, was it Webster that said, God grants liberty to those who will protect it. Here is your chance. Here is your chance to be involved, to have your voice heard. And so, Gregg, thank you so much for coming on today. Appreciate everything you do. People want to find you. They can find you, GREGG, at teapartypatriots.org.
Thank you very much.
It's my honor to have you in my studio. Thank you for your service to this country and to each of us each day. We'll be right back, and Ken Canfield will be joining us. He's the founder of the National Center on Fatherhood. We'll look forward to having him join us as we talk about fathers. You heard Gregg share a little bit about his dad today. And even if you may not have a great story on your dad, I'll tell you what, God still has a plan and something better for you ahead. So stay tuned.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Hobbs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed, fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money-back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're gonna make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.